I haven't missed a day in 8 years. Even if I was tired, injured, sick, or really didn't feel like it. I've run 7 kilometers every day for over 8 years now. And you might think it's about the fitness. Well, it's not. I want to talk you through why I started, what the streak really teaches you, and why I look for the same traits in business founders. I want to take you back to the start of my run streak journey. It was December 27, 2017, and I put on a few kilos after Christmas. And I had already been exercising, whether it's at the gym, doing some runs, but I would tend to maybe overindulge at different times and really couldn't keep the weight down. So I needed to think about how I was going to do things differently. And it came to me of starting this run streak. First, I set out that I was going to run every day for 7 kilometers and see how the body pulled up and see how I felt about it all. And it went quite well. And over that course of the first 30 days, I actually did some of the toughest running that I probably ever have. I was actually running at the beach in soft sand and went out for that challenge to really focus on how I could lose the weight. Now, maybe that's not the best fitness regime or exercise regime that you will potentially put in for yourself, but at that time, this is what I was really focused on. So I started that run journey, able to complete that 7 days, 7 kilometers per day, and really pushed me forward to thinking about, okay, well, what's the next part? Do I continue on this journey? And didn't really know there was such a thing of having a run streak. And there's actually a group internationally that are known for their run streak journey, and you have to at least complete 1 mile. Well, I've got a little bit higher than that, where I've actually set myself that goal of 7 kilometers per day, and that came up through living in the inner west of Sydney, where there is the Bay Run there. It runs around that water area for over 7 kilometers. So that came to my mind when I thought about doing the run. And 5 kilometers, really not that much of a stretch. 10 kilometers really does take the time out of your day. So I settled on that 7 kilometer run every single day. And after doing that 7 days, I actually start speaking to people about running every day for 7 kilometers a day for the first year. And they actually said to me, it was like, that's not going to be possible. What if you're sick? What if you're hungover? What if you're not really feeling like it? Well, I was really super focused on completing this goal and having that run journey and that run streak for that whole year for me to happen. And considerations about injury and what's going to happen through that process, but really focused on that's what I wanted to do. So not only did I tell people, and the feedback was often, you're not going to be able to do it, you're not going to make it, how are you going to be able to accomplish that? And I'd seen people in the past do smaller run streaks, but nothing to that extent of knowing anyone that had run every day for 7 kilometers for a whole year. So I set it out and then held myself accountable by also posting it on social media to, have that accountability in place, that other people know of what I'm going to do. And it just drives you forward to actually want to do something more when you put it out there for other people. Holding yourself accountable is really important, and what was really important in that journey. So that first 30 days was hard and really did test out my mind, my body, and how things were going to develop over the course of the year. But I really found after that first 30 days that it didn't start being about the fitness. It was actually that mind shift, that mindset that I was carrying in, and the discipline that I actually created, those habits and rituals that I created through the journey of running every day for that 7 kilometers. And it became automatic. I'd actually set myself out to putting my clothes out at night, really focused on what the day had ahead once I woke up, and actually just getting out there and doing it. There was no second thought, just go and run. That was the focus. That was the discipline I created. But by setting yourself up with that preparation and really got me moving forward to, as soon as I wake up, I'm getting my clothes on and I'm getting outside and I'm going to go for the run. Rain, hail, or shine, I was out there doing it. And when you do have that negative thought coming through your brain, often it's where people either sleep in or get on the couch and watch TV. And I've been guilty of that in the past, but not anymore. That is my focus, and that's what I will be doing each and every day, and I'll continue to do this. So it's not really about the endurance. It's for me, it's not breaking that promise to myself. And the discipline I've created has really pushed me through to other areas of my life, whether it's, work, relationships, and really moving forward to giving the best of myself. That discipline that I have really carries through to many other areas. So I really want to really incite the idea of these traits really show up in business, especially. And I really want to instill that same discipline that I created through running to really push me through to business. And if I do reflect in the past, especially 10 years in business, I can see some of those areas really playing out. That discipline I created in running has really pushed me through for the discipline I created in business. My property buyers agency business, where we're really looking to help people create wealth through investment properties, had a slow start. And that was in terms of 2017, 2018 that had happened. So a lot of these things happened at a similar time frame for me. Whereas I started with a business partner and we had no sales for 3 months. Imagine that, starting out a business, no sales on your products or service for 3 months. No money coming in the door, but a lot of money going out, whether it was licenses, marketing, websites, and everything else. Money was pouring out, but nothing was coming in. But we built that discipline of making calls, reaching out to people. And I know that in terms of business networking I did over a long period of time, showing up every week meant that I was getting clients, and also those clients were referring us to other clients. By showing up, it built trust for me with people that I was working with. And then they were easily saying to others of what I was able to accomplish for them. So that really got myself in a place where we were getting sales through creating that discipline of showing up. I did this the same as creating my property portfolio, where I'd show up the first at a property seminar and be the last one to leave. With that whole idea of building those relationships, I got the best property deals. And it made me go from my first property to property number 36 of building my property portfolio by showing up, by that discipline in turning up every single time there was a property event on. And it meant that I actually created that wealth. And if I take you back in terms of my first investment property, which I did on my own, I bought back in 2002, and the Sydney market was really at a peak, and I probably overpaid for that property. That property price stayed still or even declined at some points in the next 10 years. So I had no growth for 10 years. Imagine trying to get back on the horse after that happening. Well, I did, but it was significant to get that growth. Whereas many people try on their first attempt and don't succeed and never go back again. I was able to, and it meant that discipline of going back and doing it again, but thinking about changing the whole idea and way I did things meant I got success. Built that portfolio of 36 properties. Now that portfolio sits at 9. So I've bought and sold in different markets at different times, thinking about the wealth creation as number one, the property investing as the vehicle to create the wealth creation. And many people look on the idea of, well, you hold the property for 50 years and time in the market will help you create that growth. But there's various strategies that you can adopt through the discipline I've created of showing up and learning off experts to actually benefit myself on buying and selling at different times in different markets with different situations coming up as well. So that's been significant to the success that I've been able to create. Another area that I have shown discipline has been in the videos that I've created. So I went on a streak, different to my run streak, but a streak when it comes to social media. I created Facebook Live videos every single day for 7 years. Now that discipline led me through to creating sales, building trust, and then getting out content to actually help people in their investment journeys as well. So those traits ran through in my running, in my business, with my getting out of my comfort zone to be able to do videos and put myself out there on social media. And that was a real idea of me being able to be successful by running those rituals, habits, disciplines that I move forward. And this is really what I want to explore with others. How you creating that same type of discipline for yourself. And discipline definitely compounds. It showed up in my run streaks, it showed up in my business, it showed up with my communication with others. So this has been significant in my success, in my growth. So when it comes to your business, and if you're a founder and looking to get started and really generate wealth for yourself moving forward and scale an idea that you have, I really want to hear from you in your application about what is your streak, what is the areas of effort that you're putting in. It may not be running or exercise, it could be anything. So think about when you are filling in the application, why and how are you doing certain things. So really want to see this ring true for yourself so that I know where you're coming from, I know who you are and what you're all about. And if that is I'm really focused on the idea of discipline, and if you are too, well, that's a match that we could have together to work forward with an idea and a business that could work well for both of us. And I want to work with people with similar values, similar ideas, and similar effort and disciplines. So without that discipline, there really is no success, I believe. You got to put in the hard work. You've got to put in when it really matters. And times will be tough. There will be struggles. I had it in my property buyers agency business where COVID was in that mix of that. We had higher interest rates, and where 13 interest rate rises happened in consecutive months. And that meant that the buy numbers really dwindled. But because we had the discipline and we had the relationships and we had the clients, we had repeat clients coming through, educate them, tell them the story, and that meant that they were successful, and as a result, we were successful, and they referred us more clients. So I want to see that type of discipline in people that I am working with. So if you are interested, really reach out, apply, and we'll talk about whether that's going to be a match for both of us moving forward.